Okay, so we're here today to cover the InMetrics K16 temperature reading solutions so that we can all help the economy reopen safely here because of the pandemic virus situation. This is me. This is all my contact information. Agenda: challenges of how to reopening and how can we help you. The InMetrics temperature reading kiosk, and then a brief Q&A at the end. How do you reopen your business and actually help reduce liability? Or how do you help your customers reopen their businesses and help reduce liability? You have to do something to both instill customers confidence in both your customers and your employees. Let's be honest with you. Safety is the primary concern. When it comes to the quality equipment, would you actually go out and buy cheap hard hats for your team? Or would you sell cheap hard hats to your customer for them to use on their team? And then the biggest challenge is, how do you keep people moving efficiently through these large venues, through these areas, through these businesses, without slowing people down to making it a multiple minute process per person? You know, keeping people moving smoothly and as unobtrusive as possible, it's actually going to give them a sense of normalcy. And that's what people are looking for these days. How can the K16 help? You're going to help provide a healthy and safe environment for your customers and your employees. You can set temperature thresholds, or they're actually ones that are pre-built in upon delivery, and then actually measure temperature against those temperature thresholds to make the interruptions of normal activities minimal. We do now support a walk-by mode, where you can actually scan people in rapid succession, keep traffic moving. Think at a restaurant, think at a movie theater, think at a rock concert, an athletic event, whatever the case may be. And this is going to go at, you're going to instantaneously detect their temperatures at roughly once a second, maybe slightly less, to keep things moving at a normal pace. This will be less intrusive than any metal detectors or any other security systems that they have in place whatsoever. K16, it's developed by InHand Networks from the ground up. This is the advanced infrared camera. This is the critical part. This is what makes the temperature reading possible. This is the InPad 101S. It's a 10.1-inch tablet PC. This is something that we have done over 15,000 installations for already for smart vending. So this is a proven product. And then we have the InMetrics user interface software here that we actually wrote in-house, literally from line 1 of the code. It's Android based. It's actually Android 7.1 based. And there is an available API. Here's a little more on this critical part about the camera. The K16 is an industry-leading 160 by 120 resolution. Most of the competition's around 32 by 32. We also have an industry-leading 50 frames per second sampling rate. Most of the competition's around 1 frame per second. This lets us process information much more quickly and much more accurately because we're taking multiple samples and evaluating it before we render an answer. That's why we can keep it just in time, keeping things moving. Where everything else, it needs for people to stop, pause, take the picture, make sure that it's a good reading, analyze it, and then produce the result. It's much slower. Distance range, we're at about 2.5 to 5 feet is the optimal distance. And calibration, this is a big deal as well. This is the only camera that we're aware of on the market that does not require ongoing continuous calibration. That means that you can put this out and let people just use it, and you don't have to sit there and provide maintenance for it on an ongoing basis, which can interfere with your business operations. Got best in breed hardware here. It's an ARM Cortex A53 octa-core processor running at 1.8 gigahertz. This is the computational monster. This is the heart of what lets us do what we need to do in a real-time environment. It's the 10.1-inch touchscreen. It's HD resolution. It's also got a built-in 3D camera, which we'll get into a little bit later. It also has built-in Wi-Fi, which is very important for this system as well. And it's an industrial fanless design with a wide temperature range, 15 degrees Fahrenheit to 122 Fahrenheit. So it's able to work in easy office environments or more challenging industrial type environments as well. We've got a lot of interfaces for expanded features on it. We've got a USB on board so that you can do software updates to it. It's got an onboard output relay so that you can drive third-party interaction and interfaces to, let's say, a flashing light if you have a temperature failure, or perhaps something to drive a turnstile to allow someone through once they actually pass the temperature range. We've got Wi-Fi so that you can, if you want, configure it to send out email notifications, or even what we call screencasting, which is very similar in concept to Google Chromecast, where you can, through a Wi-Fi connection to a tablet, broadcast to a television set or a monitor nearby, so that the person is out of the way and not risking being sneezed on, or perhaps they're in a control environment for other reasons. And then obviously we've got onboard Bluetooth as well, so you could instrument this to external speakers. So that the auditory announcement, the verbal announcement of, okay, please proceed, is more obvious. It's more clear to everyone in the area. If you do need cellular connectivity because you or your customer doesn't want to connect it to your own local LAN, no problem. Add one of our IR615 wireless routers with Wi-Fi, and you've got a Cat6 LTE connection. Cat6 LTE means maximum is 300 megabits per second down and 50 megabits per second up. That's a heck of a connection. And so this thing can be ready to go anywhere, deployable literally in an instant. There's two different work modes here. One is the walk-by mode, which I'm going to play a video for now.
Please proceed. Please proceed. Please proceed.
As you can see, these folks were moving through a pretty good clip. They're walking briskly, and it was still able to keep up with them. And then this is the one-to-one mode.
Please proceed.
There's also instantaneous reading. You've got real-time infrared image calculations and reading right at your fingertips.
Please proceed.
And then here's a temperature failure.
Please wait for assistance.
You also have the ability to read multiple people in the same frame if that becomes a need. This kind of feature is typically at this point in the industry reserved for only some of the most expensive products out there on the market. Typically that right there alone, this functionality is something that is in products that are in excess of $19,000 each. And you can see where it shows. Here's the temperature, 94.7 for the one person, 97.2 for the next, and then we have 97.5, and this guy's, everyone's okay, and please proceed. However, in this frame, we've got one person in the group does show a fever, and so it shows who is okay and who is not, and then it gives you to wait for an assistant. The K16 is very, very much plug and play. I cannot emphasize this enough. In the devices we've sent out to the field already to our customers, and yeah, I did say we've already shipped product because a lot of our customers, a lot of our competition is still putting their customers on hold. With our devices, the customers literally open the box, plug it into the wall, turn it on, it goes through about a 10 to 15 second boot up sequence, and then it's ready to get to work. That's something that's unmatched in the industry. And the fact that it doesn't require any IT integration is just absolutely unique. We have a standard desktop stand, which is the one here with the little foot on it. You put that on a desktop, on a countertop somewhere, have people walk up, they take their temperature instantaneously, you're done. It can actually swivel up to a maximum of 90 degrees, depending on what the scenario is. And then we also have a floor stand and a wall-mounted version as well. Now, one thing I do have to emphasize, this is for indoor use only. And the reason why is several. One is external temperature variations, which are caused by the sun, quite honestly. And then the other reason is, let's say it's you've got a scenario where there's wind, and then maybe that wind carries dust particles, which could affect the camera screen on the infrared camera. And with this being state-of-the-art equipment, you know, we do need to care for it. Has an easy setup. It's quick and easy, intuitive settings here. You've got your different notifications. You can set it up for the standard, which is please proceed, or it can say thank you. Or you can actually upload your own custom. Literally all you do is record an MP3 file, upload it to the tablet, and that is now your custom. You've got voice on and off. Over temperature verbal response, the same thing. Please wait for assistance, or over temperature, or you can do the custom. And then you can turn off and on that voice. You can also configure an email notification for it, and then you also have your digital I/O controls to turn on and off as well. So this thing really allows you to make it part of your existing business. We also have some really interesting advanced settings. Most people won't need to use them. What we've got in the predefined default settings is really good, but if certain unique cases call for it, we do have the ability to change it so that there is the one-on-one or the walk-by feature. You can change your temperature settings between Fahrenheit and centigrade. You can also do your body temperature choice or skin temperature as well. We recommend body temperature because it actually utilizes a proprietary algorithm that we've come up with. We found delivers a superior result than exclusively skin-only temperature reading, which is what all of the competition does. In addition to that, you've got your minimum temperature range, your maximum temperature range, your over temperature, and your reading distance from the camera. So you can actually control how far away you're going to actually put that little X on the floor to have your customers stand right there and step on that X in order to have the right range. It's really easy to manage the records. You can browse the records easily. You've got the ability to go in to the same user interface and actually with the easily with icons, temperatures, and then timestamps. So you can look at the week and you can say, here's the whole week. And during the whole week, here are the statistics. We had 258 readings, we had 193 OKs, and 65 alarms. Or you can actually click on one day of the week, and it'll give you that same statistics. And then you'll actually have a screenshot, and then which mode the screenshot was read in, so that you know what more of a context of how things were done. You can actually send photo records of this by email. It's a manual configuration if you want to. And then you can also get automatic email notification of an over temperature event if you configure it to set it up. So you're able to configure this how you want it to operate in your business. If you don't want to maintain that information of the alarms because of privacy concerns, you can turn that off. Or if you need it for other use cases, maybe it's with employees at a factory and you need that information and you need to have over temperature notifications sent to HR, for example, that's a good way to automate that process as well. And you can let your employees monitor this from a distance. This is what I was talking about earlier with the screencasting to another computer. You can actually configure this so that your guy is sitting here let's say it's your security guard, or maybe it's your office manager. They're able to sit over to the side out of the direct range of where new people are coming in who haven't been tested yet. And so that helps provide them with an extra layer of protection against possibly getting sneezed or coughed on or who knows what. Because until we actually run a temperature reading, you don't really know who you're dealing with, what you're dealing with, so on and so forth. So it's good precautionary effort to take there. And then obviously you get automatic email notification to management, as I mentioned earlier, for each one of those events when it's detected. The K16 is fully integratable to other systems as well. So this can be configured and designed to work with, let's say, an alarm or a light or a beacon of some kind, or other on-style systems like a turnstile, or maybe you need to actuate an electrically locked door for access. It's an Android-based API, supports integration with any number of third-party different systems. Please do note there may be some NRE or a minimum order quantity of K16s would apply for those kind of integration support. A little bit of comparison of the K16 versus the competition. Well, first part is the other systems that look a lot like ours. We have a superior infrared camera. We do 160 by 120 versus 32 by 32, and our camera is sampling at 50 hertz as opposed to once per second. That alone right there means we're collecting a lot more data, and we're able to have a more accurate positioning of the information. It's automatically calibrated, which makes it a lot more stable and accurate in the standard user interface. Why is that important? You don't want to have to park an IT person with this camera all day long. That would be incredibly unwieldy and unrealistic in a day-to-day office environment. Ours is instantaneous reading. A lot of the other products take a few seconds to do a reading, which greatly slows down the process of moving people, which we all agree is very key to reopening in a more realistic business environment. And then it's very user-friendly software. And this is a little observation that we've made. In every competing product we've ever noticed, they never show the infrared image. We do. And we're trying to figure out why. We're pretty sure it's because we're able to show a lot greater resolution here in the imagery. Another competing technology, the thermal gun. Why is the K16 better? Well, one, you're saving manpower. How many people are you going to park out there all day long taking temperatures? It's expensive to keep paying people to do those menial jobs. Plus, there's actually the risk of those employees potentially getting sick. This is a much slower solution. One person by one person by one person, and someone has to read that information and then log it. This system automatically reads, automatically logs, so there's no need to stop that flow of people whatsoever. In addition, it's just much less intrusive. You don't have someone walking up, possibly wearing a mask, doing all of this extra work in order to just read their temperature, which we can do, and it's one cost, and then you're done. And you don't have to sit there and pay someone over and over and over an hourly wage to do this menial job. And then it also keeps records, digital records, which can be saved if you choose to do so. As opposed to with the gun, you have someone writing down temperature records, and the records are only as good as the person that's entering them. And then this is the K16 versus the high-end competition. The advantages, it's a much easier, less complex, less invasive installation. You come in, you plug it into the wall, you point it where you need to, and you're done. These other systems require an extensive amount of configuration. There's no need for a black body reference temperature, which you'll see in a lot of them. Here in the picture you can see one. What a black body reference temperature is a separate device that feeds a constant temperature range to the camera so that it can try to self-calibrate to an extent. The K16 is a lot lower cost than these for much similar features, including multiple people walking by at the same time. Most of these other solutions here, they're $19,000 to $20,000, sometimes even more. The K16 is much lower. It's a fraction of that cost. And then it gives you instantaneous feedback without someone sitting there monitoring it. And again, I can't emphasize this enough, you have no ongoing calibration headaches. That makes it easy to deploy, reliable to deploy, and you can get back to doing the normal business that your company specializes in. Here are some applications that we're actually using in this. Office buildings, movie theaters, factories and warehouses. We're already deploying in a number of factories and warehouses already. Retail, so think anything from mom and pop to big box. It's something that just gives you the ability to go in and do something now. Restaurants, hotels. This is actually a much bigger one than most people realize. Hotel occupancy rates are 70% where they were prior to the pandemic outbreak. Hotels are really hurting, and they would make an excellent prospect for you to approach and speak with. Obviously, schools as well, and then government facilities. Pretty much everybody who's been shut down by the pandemic can benefit from this. The other thing that you want to consider here is this. This is not just a one-time during this one pandemic situation. There are going to be viruses in the future. Last year alone, there were countless schools and government buildings that were shut down for days and sometimes weeks on end because of influenza outbreaks. So this is something that will actually help you add a new solution to the business, not just because of COVID, but also because of influenza, also because of who knows what other biological illnesses may come about in the future. This is just a good practice to help everyone, be a little safer. Support and service. It's a 1-year warranty. Again, we do have those customizable options available. And this is all backed by the IoT expertise of InHand Networks, who's got 19 years background in this industry. According to our initial customer feedback, InMetrics is really the one that works. They've sampled a lot of these products. Some of them have purchased 5, 6, 7 different solutions. Ours is the one that they find actually works and works as advertised. And the other part of it is it's readily available right now. A lot of the companies are telling their customers and have been telling their customers for a month or more that they can deliver in 3 to 5 weeks. And then next week, they extend it 3 to 5 more weeks. Some of the companies are telling 10 weeks or more for delivering on the product. We have availability now, and we're shipping on a weekly basis new product into the office. A little bit about InHand Networks. We're the 3rd largest industrial cellular router manufacturer on the planet, according to Berg Insight, with their December 2019 release. We have a history of pioneering in IoT for the past 19 years. We work with real, serious, large customers. We're a supplier to GE Healthcare. We're a supplier to the China State Grid. We're a Schneider CAPP partner and a Rockwell Encompass partner. We work with ABB, with Siemens, and with a variety of other companies. Last year, we launched our 2nd factory, which is a 200,000 square foot facility. And also in 2019, we had a hallmark moment of delivering over 3 million products in the history of our company, with over 400,000 of them deployed in 2019 alone. And then earlier this year, we actually had our IPO on the STAR market. Here's a few more of our different partners. I know that you know these companies. These are real organizations. They're powerful companies who actually have operational requirements for products that just don't go down. They need the reliability. They need the uptime. We're going to have a little bit of a Q&A here at this point. And so what I would like to do is open the floor to some questions, perhaps. So, Matt, yes, we will put out we actually have a link to the video on YouTube, and we will send that out very shortly. I also see another question from Matt. It says, how does walk-by mode work? If the spec state must be 2 to 5 feet away, and we know the thermal readings get worse the further away the person is. I can tell you that typically what you're going to have is someone walking through a doorway or a turnstile or something like that, or you're going to mark a little place on the floor where someone would walk to that. They'd see an X on the floor and walk near that, or maybe there'd be a corridor for them to walk that's marked out with tape on the floor or something along those lines. So that's pretty easy. Also says, where are the parts from? As far as that, yes, some parts are from China. However, there are no secure concern issues whatsoever listed by any security organizations on the planet that are part of any component with our system. They are actually assembled here in the States. The stand does come with the order, or we can actually provide the wall mat or the floor stand, either one. As far as the body temperature versus skin temperature, that question is, we have a proprietary algorithm where we're sampling multiple different points across the face, so we're able to come up with a much more accurate reading than just the plain body skin temperature reading, which most devices do. We do that because we've got a much more accurate camera, so we can identify different parts of the body there. I do have the presentation in a PDF. Matt, if you can reach out to me by email, I'll send that to you as well. Francois, you asked if there's a minimum order. Minimum order would be 1 piece. Bill, cool, I'm glad you came. We're actually able to identify part of it is through the eyeballs. Now, when you're doing that through walk-by mode, we're sampling just different parts of the head and the face, just based on what we can see available there. Matt, I'm going to type you my email right now. 1 second here. There's my email. Any other questions, thoughts, ideas? You're welcome, Matt. Individual mode, I think, would be more accurate. Yes, Bill. But not by a great measure. And I would encourage you and your customers to actually put both of them to the test. I think that the differences you'll see are going to be nominal versus moving people through at a more rapid pace. Any other questions? Oh, there's one from Steve. Okay. How much maintenance do these need over time? They are maintenance free. The only thing I can advise is maybe running a duster across them occasionally, just to, when they're out there in the environment, they're going to accumulate dust just like any other electronics. It's minimal maintenance that they require. You just turn them on and they just work. Any other questions?
Hey, Tony, I think maybe you can check if anyone wants to see a live demo and from the video camera we set up in the office.
Yes, that's a good point. Here, let me pause the sharing. I'm not sure how to pass that over to Kenneth so he can do that. Ken, do you know how to?
Right now, if you select in your options to see,
Oh, there you go.
there you go.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Just in stand 1x1 mode, takes less than a second.
Kenneth, I think it's better to let you show your screen, or so that we can look at your video directly, so it will be more clear.
Okay, sure. I will do a screen share on mine real quick.
Tony can stop sharing so that we can switch
All right.
to your screen.
All right. So walk by mode, or 1x1 mode, excuse me. Just simply come up to it. It takes the temperature hit about 4 feet back. Go into the admin setting. We'll change it into a walk by mode. As you can see, your account information, change your passwords. Then from the measurements, I'll switch it to walk by mode, save. As you can see now, the outline's actually gone. So just simply walking by, grabs my temperature. I'm a one-man show here today because of COVID, so don't have a second person to throw by, but whether I'm walking by and looking at the camera, it'll grab it, or whether I'm just walking by and not facing the camera, it'll grab it. We'll go back into the interface so everyone can see the interface. So with that, as Tony had already mentioned, you can change between Fahrenheit and centigrade. I know we have some partners up in Canada who've shown a lot of interest in using these, so Celsius comes in handy, and also in Europe. The different temperature offsets you can change. Then under the notifications, just to recap on what Tony mentioned before, the standard please proceed, thank you, or please wait for assistance or over temperature in there. But if you select on, for example, customize, you can type in your own message in any language you want. And then for the voiceover, for the voice notification, you can just do a recording, make sure it's a MP3 file and load it, and then it will play that as well. And then it's the same as well for the over temperature notification. Please step to the side, wait for assistance, you know, whatever you might like. And then of course, he already mentioned where you would put in your email address or to turn on or off the IO settings. The records here, you can do an export from a USB or just do your email sending. He already kind of covered some of the different ways to filter and select between OK, alarms, and then just in general, as you can see in the walk by mode, it'll pull up a JPEG image with a capture of the temperature, pass or fail, and then a timestamp. As you can see, we don't put any PII or personally identifiable information in here, so that way you don't have to worry about any type of HIPAA or FDA type regulations or Privacy Act. I mean, it's just basic metrics. You know, you're not digging into any type of demographics or information that you would have to consider private or, you know, protected under regulations. So just in general, this is the system. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm actually going to get a YouTube link here for Matt as well.
Tony, do you see any questions right now with the current setup I have? It's
Thank you.
Yeah, I do. I'm actually trying to get a response here for Matt for the YouTube link. Just stand by 1 second, Matt. I'm going to put that in the body of the text message here. Just 1 second. That's the YouTube video. As far as the EU market, Wooter, yes, we can provide this to the EU market as well. Let's see, Matt, we see a welcome. Do that 3 to 5 times. Temperature is different each time. How far off is it each time? Can we see it again?
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
So 97.8,
Thank you.
97.9.
Part of that may be varying because Ken's getting up and jumping around in front of the camera, so he may be raising his body temperature slightly.
The big piece is, I believe by spec is the variation 0.5 of a degree.
Correct. As far as how you suggest clients deal with the temperature variations, that's the reason why we actually have that acceptable range, Matt. So the interesting thing that you'll find in human biology is what we were taught as kids in grade school about 98.6 being normal human body temperature. That's more of a generality than a reality. People can actually have a standard body temperature range of any and be perfectly biologically healthy of anywhere from 97.0 to 99.5. It's an individual variance based on metabolism and a few other things that are going on inside the human body. And so as long as you're under that, let's say 99.8 to 100 Fahrenheit, it's generally accepted that that person is okay for the most part. Once you hit 100 degrees Fahrenheit, that's when other question marks begin to pop up in the eyes of the medical community. Does that answer your question, Matt? Cool. Any other questions, thoughts, ideas, suggestions? Anyone? Any other points that Ken or Ming or anyone else feels that I may have missed on any of this?
No, I believe you covered everything, Tony.
Yeah, that's good. I have no more additional thoughts.
Hold on, we've got a few more questions coming in here. You're welcome, Matt. As far as different partners such as Coca-Cola, what that means is that we're working with them for a variety of different industrial automation applications across a variety of product lines. Parag, to answer your question, the margin of error, the official margin of error is plus or minus 0.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Stephen Lynch, will you be collaborating with any software provider? Potentially. We just need to find out what the use case is and evaluate the business scenario.
And just to add on top of that, for Tony, remember the tablet portion of it is Android 7.1, so it's an open system. If someone wanted to purchase units and add their own flavor of secret sauce to the system, it is an open Android platform. So
that's a great point. Parag, as far as is it FDA approved? Currently it is not. It is not an FDA approved device because it is considered an access control device, not a medical diagnostic device or a medical treatment device. Any other thoughts or questions? Anyone? Come on, I know somebody else has got another thought or idea out there. It's okay, just throw it out. Okay, well, it looks like they're... Oh, wait, hold on. Steve just typed another one. No, Steve, it actually connects to the cellular via Wi-Fi. The reason why we went that route is because what we found is Ethernet drops result in most locations is something that they want to do separately with, to avoid wires to be tripped on, wires to be messed with, get in the way, so on and so forth. We also didn't go with Ethernet on the product because, frankly, Ethernet drops in large facilities are radically expensive on a foot-by-foot basis. So we found that a secure Wi-Fi connection with a local router right there that can sit underneath, underneath the cabinet, out of the way, nearby, just as out of the way as possible, would actually just make things a lot easier. It can, yeah, you could remote access in via VPN to the router. As far as power options, Matt, it's a 110 AC. Literally plug it in the wall and go. As far as locations that aren't close to power outlets, I have seen remote battery power packs that you might want to try to use for those kind of scenarios. But again, you would need a reliable, bigger power source on this for running it in those more remote environments, just based on its pulling power. No, I don't have a UPS pack to come with it. I would, we're not experts in the UPS business arena, and I'd prefer that you select someone that you're comfortable with. Any other questions? Anyone? Okay. Well, thanks, Steve. So if there are no other questions, I'm going to suggest that we go ahead and adjourn for now. If you have any further questions or ideas, you've got my email, you've got my phone number. Please call me, please email me, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to get back with you with answers that you need. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate all your time. Good questions. And whatever I can do to help in the future, I'm here. Thank you so much.